Hey everybody, I hope you're well, almost certainly at home, like me. Over the last weeks, we've really, I think, been advised from every possible angle about the best way to protect our health and to protect the health of others. Wash your hands, keep social distance. You've heard it all a million times by now. What hasn't really been spoken about so much is how you can take care of your mental and emotional well-being, which can be really quite significantly challenged. For many people, if you're in isolation, some people do really well. A lot of people go back crazy when you're isolated from others. And what many of us have taken to doing is getting on social media and filling our heads with endless conspiracy theories and blaming of governments and just endless trying to understand what's going on, which is very natural at a time like this to try and figure it out, but it can also really add to your mental and emotional distress. So I want to talk to you for a few minutes here about sanity, about how you can most effectively create a wellspring of feeling good within yourself quickly and effectively. You know, I've been forced to get quite good at this in my life because I came from a very unstable beginning in my family. Early life, there was a lot of instability. It was like I grew up in a pandemic atmosphere in my house. There was a lot of mental illness and disturbance in my early environment. So I had to learn early on to avoid going crazy. I had to learn how to change your state. What do you need to do to change your emotional and mental state so that you can rely upon something within yourself when outside things are very much in turmoil? So this is called spiritual practice or just practice. You know, when you practice in some way, you're practicing to change your state. So making love could be a practice to change your state. Meditation could be a practice to change your state. The difficulty that many of us have faced in trying to understand practice is that we often are advised by somebody with a one-size-fits-all formula. For example, someone will tell you, you just need to meditate. Just meditate. That will take care of everything. Only meditation is needed. Meditation is not a bad thing, but to suggest that it's going to be a universal panacea for absolutely everything may not work so well. For example, if you're lonely and you don't have a relationship, meditation may or may not be the cure for that. If you don't have money, meditation may or may not be the cure for that. So there are lots of things that meditation doesn't necessarily fit for. Other teachers will tell you just have sex. You know, Tantra teachers will say just make love, make love, make love, and everything will be great. Well, making love's great, but it's not necessarily going to be the right fit for every circumstance. Some people will tell you to exercise and get your body, just run, and if things aren't going well, run some more. So actually what's needed is to have intelligent responses to what's happening outside of you and what's happening inside of you. So we can tailor-make practice so that the right practice fits the right circumstances, both within yourself and in the outside world. So this is a big topic, because it's tailor-made, it's not possible to just go do this, and it's all fixed. We need to have an intelligent, sensitive, empathetic response. So I'm going to be doing a Zoom webinar on Thursday, April 2nd. You're welcome to come. I'm not asking for anything, neither your money nor your email address. Just come. And we'll go into this and I'll be able to dialogue with different people about how to find the right practices that best fit you. For now, today, I want to bring your attention to 4 kinds of practice. These are not specific practices. They're more like types of practice. 4 types of practice which have proven to be really effective in the work that I've been doing with coaching clients over the last weeks as we've been slowly impacted more and more by this pandemic. So these are 4 different areas that I'd love for you to hit each day, even if just for a few minutes. If you can touch into these 4 areas, I think you'll find your attitude and your your disposition towards the times we're facing through will be dramatically improved. So the first area we could say is to release blockage. Now, blockage can be physical as well as emotional. So physical blockage, which means, that you're feeling tense. And so you can release physical blockage by stretching your body, by moving your body through its full range of motion. But actually, even as you start to do this, you might notice that there's a movement of emotional energy as well. That's why we often stay constricted and tight, because we don't want to feel certain things. So it's also really helpful. This may seem a little strange, but believe me, strange as it may be, it's really helpful. It's also great to be able to move emotion through your body, to become sensitive to what am I feeling right now. So a lot of people these days are feeling fear or frustration, a feeling of powerlessness, like I don't like all these things that are happening and I want to change it. And so that feeling of frustration, for example, if you can just express that through your body, even just for a few minutes, you're going to suddenly feel incredibly much more alive and more available for other kinds of practice. So for example, if you're feeling frustrated, you could just and that actually became quite active and real very quickly. If you can move emotional energy through your body, if you can fake grief, if you can fake irritation, if you can fake sadness, by just allowing it to move through, you're going to feel more alive, you're going to feel blockage freeing up, and that will make you more available for other kinds of practice. So that's number one. Find a way to release blockage during the day, to release blocked energy, especially if you're alone in your home, kind of feeling a little cooped up. This can be a really useful thing to do. Number two is to find your own way to relax back into the dimension of you that is infinite. There's lots of ways to do that. When we do the Zoom call on Thursday, I'm going to guide you into a practice that will do that within a few minutes, and I'll give you the recording of that to use at home. I prefer not to say meditation, because when people try and meditate, they think, oh, I've got to learn meditation. And then, of course, that follows on with that meditation is something you could be good at or not good at. And the people feel, oh, I'm not very good at meditation because I have these thoughts. And it doesn't, the assignment to learn to meditate is sometimes helpful, but sometimes not. There is another approach, which I'm just going to give you a little taste of here, and we'll go into it more deeply for those of you who want to join me later, is to recognize that in this moment, whether you're meditating or not, in this moment, look, things are being seen. It's clear, things are being seen right now. Things are being heard. Sensations are being felt. And that's true whether you meditate or not, or whether you're, quote, spiritual or not. In this moment, things are being seen and heard and felt. That's a given. So we can simply become naturally curious about, okay, so this pen is seen, who is seeing it? And we can turn the attention back, not as a cognitive intellectual inquiry, but for real. Something is seeing the dimensions of this object. What is seeing it? If we turn the attention back and hold the attention to be curious about its own nature, and we'll do this much more deeply on Thursday, we start to realize naturally that although the pen has dimensions, that which is seeing the pen has no dimensions. It's actually infinite, without boundaries, infinite. You hear a sound. You hear a sound. The sound has a certain vibration, but the sound is being heard. So who or what is hearing? And if we inquire deeply enough, we discover that that which is hearing is silent, is still. Sensations are felt in the body. The body is felt. When we inquire into that which is feeling, it is beyond feeling. You could say, actually, we discover it to be love itself. So this is really a way to bypass the otherwise long journey of meditation, to come into direct recognition of the nature of that which is aware, the nature of consciousness, the nature of awareness, which means the nature of you. And there's a way that we can do that. We can bypass all of the intermittent steps and come into that direct realization. That's the second. The third kind of practice has to do with flow. And there are lots of ways to do this, but once you just have a little taste, as they say in German, a Geschmack, once you have just a little taste of this infinity, which is much more accessible than you may realize, now it's great to be able to flow this through the body. What I love to do is a series of practices known as Qigong, which is just to simply flow energy through the body. This, for example, is a simple movement that flows energy through the lung, colon meridians. And this is the way, actually, the most effective way I know to improve your emotional state. And we can flow energy in this way. Here's another one that flows energy through the kidney bladder. This flows through the liver and gallbladder. These kind of movements, when you flow them, it not only causes energy to flow through your organs, but it causes energy to flow emotionally. And you start to feel unconditional feelings of well-being, of joy, of enthusiasm. Again, I'm going to show you some of that. Another way to do that is simply to dance, to put on music, and just to let your body freely flow with music. If you can let the music flow your body, you're going to feel an immediate improvement in your emotional state. Now, once we've done those three kinds of practices in the day, some kind of release, some kind of relaxing into infinity, some form of flowing energy, now actually you restore yourself to being a sane, emotionally healthy human being. Now you're actually healthy, right? And out of that natural health that's now emanating, now is a good time to think. Up to that point, not so good to be thinking, because your mind is just going to go crazy with all sorts of worst case scenarios and fearful things and frustration. But once things are flowing, now is a great time to consciously and deliberately use thought in a creative way. So that's a great time, for example, to do some writing, to do some journaling, or do what I'm doing now. Get on YouTube. Now is a good time, or Facebook. Now is a good time to share things with people, because now you're in a state of flow. You're in a state of openness, connection with the infinite. Now you can actually be creative and be helpful. And a particular form of creativity that I really encourage my coaching clients to involve themselves in at the moment is to really contemplate the kind of future that you would like to create. I think to more and more people, as this pandemic goes on longer, to more and more people it becomes obvious we're not going back to where we were. Many people and many global leaders are realizing we're not going to be able to get back to where we were, to the kind of economy and fast-paced consumerism that we had before this. It's going to go on too long and cause too many systems to be strained for us to be able to just go back. It's probably going to cause us to stop in our tracks and to reconsider. Now, financially, that's called a recession, and people think it's a bad thing. But in terms of the well-being of the planet, it's a very good thing, actually. Less consumerism means the economic machine slows down, but it means that the earth has a chance to heal itself and repair itself. If less people are traveling, if less people are demanding luxury goods, it means there's less strain on the planet's resources. But it also can be a good thing for you too, because less consumerism, less business growing, more and more money, means we actually relax into things that are inherently nourishing and pleasurable, like being with your family, like taking the dog for a walk, like meditating, like writing poetry, like going for a walk in nature. So almost certainly we're up for a new time now, and if you hold on to the old, that's going to look like a terrible thing. But if you can use this time to be creative, to really contemplate important questions like, why am I here? What is my purpose? What is it I want to create? What is the earth that I'd like to see? If we can put some time into being consciously creative, you will have something wonderful and nourishing and inspiring to share with other people. So those are 4 classes of practices, and we'll go more into the details of those on Thursday so we can really get you set up with a short but good practice schedule. Here's a few things also I just want to mention that I've noticed from coaching people and supporting people that really are good to consider limiting. One is the amount of time you spend on Facebook online going through the timeline. People are afraid right now. There's a lot of uncertainty, which means a lot of people are grappling to give meaning or to give explanations to things. You can drive yourself seriously crazy contemplating all of the different theories people have. Some of the messages you'll find on social media are connecting, supportive, loving, but many are generated from fear. And so just be a little careful with how much time, I would suggest, how much time you spend there. And the other thing that many of us have found ourselves caught in is some form of denial, particularly binge watching old TV shows. You know, it can sort of shut you off from what's happening, but it can also shut you off from the opportunity of what's happening. So that's another place that we can get caught up in, is in wanting just to find some way to distract ourselves with something that keeps the reality and the window that's opening at this time available to us. Same thing with using alcohol and sugar and marijuana. It's like these are all ways of dampening an incredible opportunity that's here for a rebirth, for a new kind of humanity, a new kind of relationship to the earth. Okay, dear friends, so I'm going to sign off for today. Thanks for sticking with me this long, and I'll be hanging out on Thursday on Zoom to meet with whoever wants to meet, so we can help you tailor make a practice schedule that can really work for you, that's really intelligently designed to meet your needs at this time.